Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm an independent voice and lifestyle advocate for the over 50 crowd here in Canada. And I would like to document my sugar detox. I think it's going to keep me honest and keep me working towards the goal I've set for myself. And I also hope that it will motivate anybody else who is just thinking of doing a sugar detox themselves. And they can see that it isn't perfect and it isn't all sunshine and rainbows, but there's challenges and there are successes. So I just want to mention that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, and I do not have any medical certification. So please just consider this me sharing my own journey and the things that I believe in. And if you would like to do anything similar, run it by your doctor, but understand that I do not have any medical credentials. Just my reasons for wanting to do this sugar detox is because now that I'm in midlife, my blood test scores are coming back, just hovering on the line of normal, high normal, just one more point outside of the normal range. Clearly, it's an indication that things are changing within my body. I believe now that I probably have some insulin resistance going on given my age and stage. And I also would love to lose weight if I could. And I just have this chocolate addiction that, sometimes is worse than others, but I never fully get away from the sugar that my body is always craving. I know that several serious diseases, sugar is a factor in terms of increasing risks. And I also know that there is more inflammation in the body when you have a high sugar environment. So for those reasons, I've decided to do the sugar detox. So follow me on my journey. Here we go. And today's topic is a sugar detox. My body has always craved sugar. That's always been a struggle for me. Some years I'm doing great, other years I'm not. And I've been pretty good the last 3 years. But it's time for me to start this journey again where I cut added sugars out of my diet. My plan is to stay less than 24 grams a day of added sugars. I'm going to document this struggle as I go. And I'm hoping that those of you who also feel like every time you try to do a sugar detox, it's a struggle, I'm hoping that you at least see that you're not alone. And as I learn things or try different strategies or am directed towards different resources to help, maybe you'll see something here that will help you on your way too. So today, day one, I'm back at the gym. I've been off, I've been sick, and then before sick, I had pulled some glute muscles that just took forever to heal, and I really had to back off my physical fitness. So today, day one, is all about everything. It's all about, working on my sugar detox as well as getting back into my fitness. But at any rate, for breakfast, I had some whole wheat toast. That isn't normally what I eat. Normally, I don't have too much bread, but and if I do have bread, it's usually sourdough. But I had a guest over Christmas, and I thought that they might prefer the whole wheat. So I had that with peanut butter, and my peanut butter had sugar in it because I happened to be in the middle of a jar that had sugar. So, I don't know about you, but I hate the natural peanut butters. They're stiff and they're hard. They don't spread well. They're chalky when you eat them. I'm going to include my peanut butter with the sugar in it, and I'm just going to work on low sugar the rest of the day in every other food. So that's what I had for breakfast with tea. And for my snack, I don't know if I'm going to have a snack. I'm going to try and stall and be out of the house long enough that I don't have a snack at all. And I know a lot of people don't snack. I have always had low blood sugar, but I'm used to at least one snack a day, sometimes two, between my stress job and my low blood sugar. But I'm going to stay out of the house. I've decided to paint a room. So I'm going to stop in at the paint store and pick up the paint I need. By then, it'll be lunch. I'm going to get back to the salad, so I'll boil up a couple of eggs to chop and put into my salad and figure out dinner. I'm not a huge meat eater, so I'm going to need to focus on chickpeas and lentils and other non-meat options. I do like chicken. I'll have a little bit of chicken, but I'm not a huge meat fan normally. So anyways, day one of my sugar detox. Wish me luck, and I'll check in a couple of days. Okay, I made it through my first morning, reducing my sugar, and it hasn't been too bad. I gave myself 3 reward points for passing up a cookie and the chocolates. I've gone late for lunch because it took me that long completing the tasks I needed to do there. So, lunch is late for me, and I'm still not feeling too bad in terms of feeling like my sugar is low. And I was listening to a podcast with it's all about sugar addiction, and this lady was promoting a keto diet, but I know I don't do well on a keto diet. That doesn't really work for me, but maybe I could try to lean keto anyways without going full keto. See if I can, add more meat to my diet, and we'll see. So I'll check in later. Okay, but this morning for breakfast, I had plain Greek yogurt with raspberries and blueberries and chia seeds in it. And that worked out to be about 6 grams of sugar. Let me just check that. I'm pretty sure. 6 grams of added sugar, which surprised me. Yeah. And so now I'm trying to figure out lunch, and I'm having a hard time, and now I'm starving because it's 1:30 and I ate this morning at 7. So I've now I'm not doing great, but it isn't awful. I have to eat up the food that I already have in my fridge, and I already had spare ribs in the fridge, which isn't something I normally eat because I'm not actually a rib fan. But my daughter was coming for dinner. I wasn't quite sure yet what I was going to cook for them, so I grabbed some spare ribs. So let me just check out what I ended up doing. This is my lunch. It's going to be 3 spare ribs, 2 hard-boiled eggs and spinach, and 2 spring rolls. So I'm going to figure out the grams of added sugar in that. I have to go online to figure out the added sugar for the spare ribs. And then that's going to determine what I can eat for dinner. I'm trying to stay under 24 grams of added sugar a day. And so far, in terms of the psychology behind it, I'm not having a hard day at all. I think that's because I've been outside shoveling several times this morning. And so far, I'm not feeling deprived. I'm not having any kind of cravings. So that's a really good thing. I'm having a hard time remembering to drink because I'm supposed to drink all day long because I've been dehydrated my whole career in teaching, because if teaching isn't the only occupation, but there are some occupations where you can't get to the washroom even in your breaks. Wish I had learned more about that and absolutely found ways to get around that, to make sure that I wasn't impacting my health. But now that I'm not teaching and there's no reason why I can't hydrate, I'm not in the habit of drinking, so I'm trying really, really hard. Just grab it. I have one of these water bottles which fits 750 milliliters in it, and I'm trying to get through 3 of those a day, doing my best. And then I usually wake up twice in the middle of the night and have a little more water from that. And so, hopefully I'll start to see a difference somehow I'm looking forward to seeing what I see with all of the increased water intake. So I'm going to enjoy my lunch and try not to feel guilty about eating those spare ribs. And because I'm eating so late, it's not going to be that long before dinner because I'm trying to do that intermittent fasting. So I need to eat dinner at 5. So we'll see how things go. Because it's such a snowy day, I'm not going to be going out at all. And I just got this new book by S.A. Thorne, Cruising, which is a rom-com on a cruise ship in a dating show. I'm really looking forward to it. It's supposed to be very funny. So I'm going to sit down for the afternoon and I'm going to settle into this book. And that's how I plan to spend the afternoon. I did weigh myself this morning just to get a baseline to see if there's an impact on my weight. If I do happen to lose weight throughout this would be a good thing, because for most women, I think we all kind of understand that it's very, very hard for us to lose weight, despite the efforts that we put in previous years. That would have helped us to lose weight. And I really could lose about 20, 25 pounds and be in a better position moving forward. When you age, you don't really want to have extra weight on you if you can help it. You want to be able to save your knees. You want to be able to propel yourself around as your muscles get a little more frail, although I'm doing my best to make sure my muscles don't get frail, but still, I don't think that there's anything wrong with wanting to be at a regular weight rather than overweight if there's anything you can do to help it. And I don't know if there's anything I can do to help it, but if I lose weight throughout the sugar detox, that'd be awesome too. All right, so I'll check in later.
Well, hi everybody, and I'm just checking in with you to let you know how things are going. So yesterday was not too bad actually. It turned out to be in the end, pretty good. So I wasn't really, you know, distracted too much or thinking about too much food, and I surprisingly didn't have a lot of sugar cravings, so I was feeling really good about that. The only thing I ate yesterday that wasn't great was the three spare ribs. Other than that, it was a good day. Today is not a great day, all because of one stupid decision to have a chocolate chip muffin. Everything else all day, I've been putting a lot of effort in to make a good choice. And so it's, really frustrating when you put a lot of energy into making good choices and effort into preparing, a breakfast that took longer than, something else I could have done just to make sure that I'm staying, keeping my sugars low. And then in the end, blowing it with one chocolate chip muffin. It's really frustrating. It was a homemade chocolate chip muffin. But still, I know I cut the sugar down from the recipe, but still, when I Googled it, it looked like it was going to have more than the sugar grams for the entire day, but whatever. The rest of the day's been going pretty good. I find that psychologically, I feel a little depressed today. It's not a good day. So I'm feeling a little bit down, but having the sugar in the muffin, maybe that's also not helping. I have heard that high sugar diets really do impact mood, and that people who either have anxiety or depression actually are affected by their high sugar diets. And so, that's another motivation. But for me, I don't suffer from depression or anxiety, but I'm just feeling kind of down today. So I still only have dinner to go. They do say that if you go 3 days with low sugar, that you start to feel better. And so far, because of my chocolate chip muffin this morning, I blew that. So I guess I'm starting tomorrow again at day one. One of the things I'm finding incredibly frustrating is the fact that there's sugar in everything. It's just almost impossible in today's food to avoid added sugars, and that's the hardest part. And I really feel like, we beat ourselves up as if it's some flaw on our part, and the people who can, live with these low sugar diets are somehow, more virtuous than us. And it just seems really grossly unfair that people, you know there's this insinuation that there's some flaw on your part. But the truth of the matter is that, once you start reading labels and, researching it, there's just sugar in absolutely everything. And even with the food that isn't sugar, many foods break down really quickly into glucose in the body. And so, the more you read about that, the more you start questioning everything, like, okay, well, should I have bread then? Or, okay, well, I shouldn't have rice, I shouldn't have pasta, because, anything starch related is all going to convert super quickly to sugar. So then, you start ruling out so much in your diet at that point that it becomes almost exhausting to investigate any further. And yet, me like everybody else want to have a healthy future. So, I really am motivated to improve for my future. And yet at the same time, it seems so exhausting every day, just, putting so much effort into researching, every little thing before a meal. It's like, can't just grab something easily and not question whether or not that's going to be the right choice or in the right combination. I've read that if you're having something that has higher sugar content, like certain vegetables, right, like carrots, those have a higher glycemic index. But then they say, but then you read something that says, but carrots are okay because they're high fiber, which is going to slow down how quickly the sugar breaks down. So that's the other frustration is, depending on the website you're on, you read some things you shouldn't eat and other things is perfectly fine. But I had read that if you are having something that has a higher glycemic index and, you make sure that you have it with fat, healthy fat, or with fiber or with protein, that will slow down how it breaks down and how slowly the glucose moves into your system. So it's just like a big mind game. But anyway, I hope I sound more positive and I have something more positive to report. All because of one stupid chocolate chip muffin. Everything else was good. And I still have dinner to come. And of course, naturally, a part of me is saying, yeah, well, just make sure you stay good for dinner and at least your sugar levels should be coming down. And then there's that's the angel on one shoulder. And then the devil on the other shoulder says, you already blew it so badly with your muffin that forget about it. Just grab something that's easy and that will fill you and start again tomorrow. So, I have that, yeah, good angel and bad angel on my shoulders right now. Um, I must say, though, that the intermittent fasting is going fine. So, if I have anything good to report today, I have no problems eating at 5 and then not eating again until the morning at 7. So, that means that I'm giving my body 14 hours to stabilize its sugar before I start again in the morning. So, that's my blessing today.
Hello. We're on day 7 of the sugar detox, and I'm just out for a walk in the snow, and it's quite an interesting day. But I would like to talk about how my last 3 days went because they didn't go well at all. I feel that I was really feeling in a down mood for a couple of days, like feeling really, really kind of low and very low energy and not like me at all. So I don't know whether to attribute that to, the sugar detox or not, but who knows? Maybe it is. I'm having a really hard time finding meals that are balanced properly so that after every single meal, even though I'm full, I feel like I have this real sweet tooth and I'm just craving just one bite of sugar after dinner or lunch, even though I'm perfectly full. It's just like I just need one bite of sugar. So I guess that is the addiction that is getting in the way. And I know that I only have 3 days to go, but I feel like I need to add another 5 or 6 because I don't feel like I've gotten off of the need and the cravings for sugar. So I'm going to see. I'll check in again in a few days and we'll see whether or not, I feel like I've leveled things off in my body and I can stop thinking about the sugar detox. But right now it doesn't feel like it at all. I feel like I could go another week. So that's what I'm going to do. I do find that I am waking up in the middle of the night. And I remember going to a nutritionist a while ago, and she said that if you find yourself consistently waking up in the middle of the night, that maybe your blood sugar is a little low. So she had recommended to me to have a handful of pumpkin seeds before I go to bed or a cherry tea. And I don't want to have either one of those because I'm trying to do the intermittent fasting, but I might have to forget about the intermittent fasting right now and give myself a handful of pumpkin seeds before I go to bed at night and see if that calms me waking up in the middle of the night. So I will check in again in another couple of days. Hi everyone, time for my day 8 check-in of my sugar detox. And the first thing is just to report I'm feeling really good. I feel like positive and I'm, motivated. So some of the things that are happening is that over the 8 days, I have lost 2 pounds, which is nice. My hands don't hurt as much because I have osteoarthritis in my hands. And particularly this week with all of the snow shoveling, normally my hands would really ache by now. Let's see what else. Oh, not craving sugar as much anymore. I still think about the dark chocolate in my cabinet. I should probably get rid of it. One of the things I was thinking about today is that, living solo kind of helps you when you do these extreme food changes because I don't have a partner who is still wanting to eat the stuff that I'm trying not to eat. So I'm not being tempted in that way. I get to control all the food that comes in the house. So that's kind of a nice advantage to living solo at this point. Though one of the things I think I would have done if I would have planned better for this sugar detox next time, I had a lot of food left over from my house guest, and for the fact that it was, leading up to the holidays, I had bought a bunch of stuff that normally I wouldn't eat, but I thought I was going to take to people's places and stuff. And, I'm not going to throw perfectly good food out. So at this point, I'm just I'm not going to get rid of it. So I'm trying to manage this sugar detox, stay under 24 grams of sugar a day, and still, eat some things that slowly are in my house. Now, if it's not something that's going to go bad, I don't worry about it. I'm just not eating it right now or slowly, but you know what? The discipline isn't too bad this time around. And the reason why I'm doing this sugar detox and the reason why I really think it's important that, everybody in their 50s and 60s should know their sugars. They should know how your sugar scores are in your blood tests every year. When you don't just rely on your doctor because your doctor might just be feeling like your scores, even though they're not great, are on par with the majority of the population. So they might not even be flagging it. But the reality is, if you're in a pre diabetes stage with your scores for blood sugar, then you need to do something about it and you need to do something about it now. Because what the researchers are discovering is that Alzheimer's, they think, is connected to sugars. So they're still doing tons of research, but I have heard more and more scientists refer to Alzheimer's as diabetes type 3. And here's the thing with women in particular, once you go into perimenopause and then menopause, because of your estrogen, which is a protective element in cells all over your body, estrogen is everywhere in your body. When your estrogen goes down or becomes completely depleted, there is a consequence to that regarding your insulin, and you become more insulin resistant. Perimenopausal or menopausal women, our body just has a really hard time managing our sugar. So if I'm convincing you to maybe do a sugar detox too, checking, of course, with your doctor because I am not a medical person, then maybe you'll have some positive changes too. Hi, everybody. Today is day 9 of my sugar detox, which means it's ending tomorrow, but I'm not ready for it to end at all. So I'm not going to end it tomorrow because I don't feel like I've got any habits in place. I feel way better for sure. I feel like my body doesn't hurt, which is weird. So I guess all the inflammation is going down. I feel more positive. So, maybe that's attributed to the sugar. Maybe the sugar was pulling me down. Who knows? Um, and I feel like I have a lot to learn in terms of the food, the snacks. That's where my downfall, I think, is. Whenever I've craved snacks before, they're, not the best. So I feel that's where I need to focus my energy building. And now that I'm going grocery shopping at the end of this week, I need to find, some snacks that are high in protein and high in fiber, I think. And that will keep my blood sugars stable. I have gone down in my fruit intake. I really do like to have berries in my yogurt in the morning. Um, and so, really, I'm just having berries and I'm having the odd apple. So, I would love to have fruit every day, but I do, I am aware like bananas, if you just have a banana with nothing else, I think that has a higher sugar content in it. So, I'm bringing down my consumption of fruit and switching it more to raw vegetables for my snacks beyond the berries because I think I don't want to get rid of my berries. Hi, everybody. This is day 10 of my sugar detox. And I'm really glad I did it. I feel really positive about it. I'm nowhere close to ending it. I don't feel like it's a habit yet, but I didn't go through too much grief doing it. I still managed to keep my sugar grams under 24. I'm still trying to decide what to do with that. Like, if my sugar grams in total for the day were under 24, even though I had a couple of crappy things, does that, mean that my health is better and that I can get, my sugar scores in my blood test down? But I don't know how strict to be. And depending on which expert you pay attention to, some are saying, yeah, none of that stuff. Like, get rid of it. Don't even, like, have it once in a blue moon. Like, they're talking like once a month or two, once every 2 months. Whereas somebody else is saying, don't be that rigid. And that's the frustration that I'm finding with this is I'm data driven. But I already had my blood test 4 months ago. I only get it tested once a year. So I have 8 more months to go. And I have no idea if I'm making a positive impact in terms of getting my blood sugars down. And so I know it's a mystery, right? I mean, eventually you just have to say, well, I'm just working on faith, and I'm just leading this kind of a lifestyle in the belief that it's making an impact on my future health, and the belief that I will age better as a result. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep tracking. I'm using an app called Chronometer. I can track my food every day, and once you start entering your food in that, it's not a hard thing to do every day because most of the food that you eat every week, you already have the food in your library, so it's pretty quick. I find the easiest time to break is in the first couple of days because if you were only on day 1 or day 2 anyways, at least for me, I could say, oh, I'll just start again day 1 tomorrow. But once you're 5 days or 6 days in, then you have a little bit more in the game in terms of if you blow it today and you have to start at square one again tomorrow, that's, many days commitment. So if you're in your first day or two, don't break. Go to the store right now and get those snacks so that you have them in your cupboard ready to go. So the detox is technically over, at least in YouTube land, but for me, it is not over. It was going to be a 30-day detox. After that 30-day, I think I'm just going to do absolutely my best to make it a lifestyle because I think that is probably the right thing for me. I think that the low sugar environment is the best for me. That's my plan moving forward.